Hello, my name's Sophie, aka Cinemonit, and this is my YouTube channel. And I'm feeling very cozy this week, lads. The weather's turned, the leaves are turning, there's a chill in the air, and it is Meg Ryan fall, as it's known in many parts of the world, aka Meg Ryan autumn. As such, I would like to celebrate this time of year with my fellow knitters and crafters by taking a deep dive into the knitwear of one of the most iconic, in terms of knitwear, films of all time, When Harry Met Sally. So in this video, I'm going to be talking you through in detail every single piece of knitwear in the film When Harry Met Sally. And there is a lot of it. We're going to be looking at the best, we're going to be looking at the worst, we're going to be talking about why there is so much knitwear in When Harry Met Sally. I'll be giving you a bit of background and context, but mostly we'll be breaking down all of the knits. So grab a drink, a hot cocoa perhaps, and we're just going to watch When Harry Met Sally together and talk about every single piece of knitwear. The format of this video is going to be quite informal. I'm cozy. I hope that you're cozy. You better be cozy. Why wouldn't you be cozy? If I'm cozy and I'm filming a YouTube video and you're just watching YouTube and you're not even cozy, then I don't know what you're doing. Get as cozy as you can. And just imagine that we're just two friends in 1989, late at night, on the phone to each other, talking about films. Like we're watching the same thing on terrestrial television. By the way, a little bit of behind the scenes gossip. I was actually going to buy a phone just for that bit, like buy like a landline phone, just so I could do that bit about the phone. But unfortunately, Cinemonit's prop budget has very much been used up by something else, not naming any names. So When Harry Met Sally is a 1989 rom-com. It was written by the iconic Nora Ephron. She also went on to write Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail and Julie and Julia, amongst other things. I love Nora Ephron. Does this film pass the bedshell test? Absolutely not. Do any of Nora Ephron's films pass the bedshell test? No, but I love them. And directed by the iconic Rob Reiner and starring Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal. And the concept of the film came about because Rob Reiner was newly divorced and was noticing what it was like to be newly divorced and single in your 30s in New York. It was filmed on location in New York, in Manhattan. And it is ultimately a film about the nature of love and how we might mistake some of the more damaging parts of romantic love for like the love of our lives. And we might also ignore some of the quieter but important parts of friendship that might actually be more suited to a long-term romantic partnership. That's my take on it anyway. It's basically a romantic comedy about the nature of love between two very flawed, very interesting people. The costumes of When Harry Met Sally are designed by Gloria Gresham, who was quite a well-known costume designer at the time. She also did the costumes for Misery, which is a film I absolutely love, and I would love to talk about the knitwear of Misery. I adore Misery. And Gloria Gresham really wanted to tap into the very specific kind of middle-class dress codes of New York in the late 80s. And I think that the very specific time period in which When Harry Met Sally was made is really important to us understanding why there are so many beautiful, high-quality sweaters in the film, more than most other films. So When Harry Met Sally is about two friends, Harry and Sally. It follows their journey from their first meeting in the late 70s when they graduate from university over the next 12 years, where they drift apart and meet up and drift apart and meet up and eventually become friends and then become lovers. So Harry and Sally are both university educated people. They both have white collar jobs. They work in journalism and law, enjoy culture. They are good, they are avid readers. They go to the theatre. They like nice restaurants. And I think Ephron does a really good job at capturing the style of these people at the intersection between two big kind of cultural moments and cultural aesthetics. So When Harry Met Sally takes place at the very end of the 80s. We are still in the era of the 80s yuppie, which was like a burgeoning middle class, a burgeoning kind of white collar worker. The 80s marked the point in time at which people started having children later, started getting married later. People were no longer, particularly middle class people, were no longer like getting married and having children in their early 20s. And so people had like an extended bachelorhood or bachelorettehood. And as such had like they were like dinks, basically. Yuppies were dinks, double income, no kids. I think that kind of yuppie aesthetic does play into When Harry Met Sally, but they're also much more cosmopolitan than like the suburban yuppie. And they're not showy about their money. Like they clearly earn an okay amount of money, both of them, but they don't kind of show that off with like flashy things. They both live in nice apartments and they both wear quietly luxurious clothes that kind of speak to a sort of coziness. And so they're coming after the kind of glitzy, cocaine fueled, yuppie sort of Wolf of Wall Street style culture of the earlier 80s, but they're also coming before the full-on like sort of conservative swing that people took, like where there was the economic downturn right at the end of the 80s around when this film was made, and that led in the early 90s to people being increasingly conservative and a move back towards a kind of tradwife dressing that we also see now. So a lot of like Laura Ashley and long dresses and Victorian influenced style and lots of like chintz and floral stuff. So it's not quite there yet. And so the aesthetic lies right between those two things. And I think that Efron does a really good job of capturing that moment aesthetically in all of the items of clothing that Harry and Sally wear. And the clothing that they wear is comfortable. It's quietly luxurious. It looks very well made. There's some really, really interesting, one of the most famous sweaters in When Harry Met Sally is Harry's cable knit sweater, which we will get to. We're going to go through all the sweaters in order. But there's been some really interesting writing and thinking around why that sweater is so iconic and why when people try and recreate it in the 2020s, the sweaters just look shit, and why knitwear was so much nicer back then. And there are many answers to why knitwear was so much nicer. But the sweaters they wear often look like real wool sweaters. They look well made. Some of them look hand knit. Most of them are machine knit, I think, but like very well made and high end, but not in a kind of overtly showy designer way. And I think the knitwear that they wear and how iconic it is and how stylish it is key to Meg Ryan's signature autumn look that everybody wants to get behind, which is a sort of like upmarket coziness, a chicness that is also very comfortable and warm. It's kind of aspirational content, but 80s aspirational. So that's a little bit of cultural context. I believe that Gloria Gresham sourced most of this knitwear from Manhattan, and so would go to like independent boutiques and secondhand shops, geographically authentic as well as authentic to the time in which it was made. So the very first scene of When Harry Met Sally does not contain any knitwear, but it is still great. It's the first of many, many interviews that are interspersed throughout the film with couples that have been together a long time, and it's about their love. And Nora Ephron wrote these scenes because she would have writer's block and she was really frustrated. And so she would interview people from the production office, and then she ended up filming those scenes with actors. And then we meet Billy Crystal. And here, at 3 minutes into the movie, is our first piece of knitwear. Meg Ryan knows what we're after. She knows what we want. She's not mucking about. She pulls up in a blue cardigan. She understands that we want to see the knitwear right away. Beautiful blue cardigan with a butter yellow blouse sticking out the side of it and some amazing blue eyeshadow. This is also her first meeting with Harry, and her and Harry are driving from the University of Chicago to New York after graduation. They don't know each other. They've been connected through a mutual friend that Harry is dating. And Harry obviously uses this opportunity to come on to Sally because Harry's honestly kind of gross. He does redeem himself at points, but Harry's not, he's kind of a misogynist. But the most important thing is that we have our first piece of knitwear, which is this blue cardigan. It is not one of the best knitwear pieces in the film, but to be fair, it's a flashback scene and we are only 3 minutes into the movie. We're still getting to know that. We don't even know who these people are yet. Harry and Sally drive from Chicago to New York, and halfway through they stop at a diner. And it's in this diner that we get a better look at Sally. And there's a really funny moment where she says something a bit salacious and the whole diner goes quiet.
It just so happens that I have had plenty of good sex.
And we're supposed to see her, I think, in this moment in her little blue cardigan and her blouse as very proper and a little bit embarrassed. But what I really like about this scene is that it mirrors a really important diner scene later on, the climax scene, shall we say. And there's quite a few mirroring opportunities in this film. There's quite a few like very cute like mirroring and foreshadowing moments, and that's one of them. Eventually, Harry and Sally arrive in New York. Sally is slightly horrified by Harry. He's a bit perplexed that she doesn't want to sleep with him. And they say goodbye to each other for 5 years-ish. And we also say goodbye to Sally's blue cardigan. We never see that blue cardigan again. Nor do we see that hairstyle or that blue eyeshadow, thankfully. The late 70s were not that great aesthetically. They really weren't. I do like that butter yellow car that she's driving, though. And there are some beautiful shots in this. The shot of Sally driving away is really beautiful. And then we have our second interview with this really cute couple. And we have our second piece of knitwear, which is this old man's very chic little beige cardigan. It's modest, it's not showy, but it is our second piece of knitwear. These interviews are really cute because they are almost verbatim the script is almost verbatim taken from the actual couples that Nora Ephron interviews. And so they do feel like historical material in some ways. And then we skip ahead 5 years and we are in the early 80s. And Sally has matured a bit and she's snogging her boyfriend at the airport. And who turns up? Harry. And you might be thinking, oh, there's not going to be any knitwear in this scene. That's what I was thinking. But Harry doesn't let us down. Harry is not letting his business attire in his grown-up job get in the way of his love of knitwear. So as you'll see, he has on a jazzy little vest underneath his suit, like a sort of diamond knit Pringle style little vest. What a jaunty little man. This is the first time I liked Harry. I didn't like him in the first scene, but I really admire him for incorporating knitwear into his business attire. So it turns out that Harry and Sally are flying to the same place. They get on the same plane. I'm not actually sure where they're flying to. We do get a better look at Harry's little knitted vest. It's very cute, very jaunty. And when they get to where they're going, he lets her know casually that he is about to get married to a woman called Helen. So Sally's with Joe. It's 1982. Sally's with Joe. Harry's with Helen. Harry's about to get married to Helen. Harry suggests they can be friends. Sally reminds him that he told her years ago that they can't be friends. Sally still does not like him at all, and I do not blame her. So the first two pieces of knitwear we get from the main characters, it's Sally's cardigan when she's watching Harry snog, I think her name's Amanda. We never meet her again. And then Harry's little vest when he's watching Sally snog Joe. So these are the cuck pieces of knitwear. Our next piece of knitwear is from the next interview couple. By the way, when I make friends with someone in their 20s now, I think this is what I sound like to them. I sound like this man.
Then a couple of years later at Eddie Colicchio's funeral, I ran into her. I was with some girl I don't even remember.
This is what it sounds like when I drop my lore, when I drop my Cinema Knits lore. This is how old I feel on the inside as well. So she's wearing something, it's not too showy. She's just wearing a lovely little black knitted number, but it's a really cute jumper. And she has like a little sort of scarf shirt thing sticking out from underneath. We're now skipping to 5 years later, and we have a scene with Sally and her friends. The redhead one, don't know who she is. She's not that important. She doesn't count very much. But the other one, the short-haired one, that is Carrie Fisher, who's playing Maria. And she will be an important part of this film. And she will also sport some excellent knitwear. So we just get introduced to Sally's friends, and we have a little bit of context. It's 5 years later. Joe, the man she was snogging at the airport in the last scene, that was 5 years ago. They were together for ages. They broke up. They've just broken up. So she's single again, and she's in her 30s now. And that's mostly what you need to know about this scene. Then we skip to Harry and my least favourite character in this film, Jess. And Harry is letting Jess know that him and Helen, the woman he was marrying, they did marry, they've just broken up. He's heartbroken. And they're at a sports ball game. I cannot be more specific than that. I cannot for the life of me tell you what sport they're watching here. But what I will say is that Harry is wearing our next piece of knitwear, which is just modestly sticking out from under his jacket. He's wearing a little sort of depression jumper. It looks like a sort of tweedy, mild crew neck that he's also paired with a chic little burgundy scarf. He loves to serve looks, Harry. He loves to serve looks. It doesn't matter if he's depressed and getting divorced. He loves to serve looks. There's 3 things about Harry that you need to know. He loves to be cozy, he loves to serve looks, and he loves to act a little bit like a sort of a Tumblr boy that you might meet at a party that would play acoustic guitar to you and talk about. He would talk to you about Heidegger for like a lot longer than you wanted to. But from here on in, I like Harry a lot more. And I don't know whether it's because he gets better as a character or whether it's because I dislike Jess so much. And I do wonder if Nora Ephron wrote this character Jess in, the best friend, just to make Harry look like a nice guy. Because Jess is, I have a lot to say about Jess. None of it's nice. And we have some iconic knitwear in the next scene. So Sally and Maria are at a bookshop, Shakespeare & Co. Shout out to that bookshop in New York. It's fantastic. And Sally is wearing a beautiful sweater that we will see a couple of times in this film. It is a red cable knit sweater. It looks a little bit boucle, maybe. There is a kind of a mild texture to it. There's a lot of texture to it. Maybe it's chenille. It could be chenille. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments. But she's wearing a beautiful red cable knit turtleneck sweater that I think is beautiful. It's a really lovely colour. And you know what? Maria is also entering the game. Maria has entered the chat and she is wearing an excellent best friend cardigan, a best supporting actress cardigan. It's a kind of fluffy mohair green colourwork cardigan. And she understands the game she's entered. She understands what she's doing, and she's putting herself in the ring as an important supporting contender. And they see Harry again, and Sally's filling Maria in on Harry's lore and how much she dislikes him. And they have a little meet cute at the bookshop. They both love reading, which I think is actually really cute in this film. Maria disappears, by the way. Maria disappears in her beautiful cardigan. Don't know where she goes. And just clears the deck for a meet cute where Harry and Sally get to deliver some hard truths to each other, including some stuff about their divorces. I'm calling Sally's red sweater her hard truth sweater just because she seems to deliver a lot of truth bombs whenever she's wearing this sweater, and she wears it a couple of times. I do want to know what person was confused about Sally saying "I spy" that meant that Nora Ephron had to put this line in.
We were in the cab playing I Spy. I spy a mailbox, I spy a lamppost.
Like, yeah, I'm familiar with the game. I know that this is an early contender, but this low-key might be my favourite sweater of the entire film, this red sweater. I've talked about it before on this channel. I made no secret about my love for this sweater. I think it suits Meg Ryan so well as well. I would also say that from this point onwards, the sweaters are going to come at us thick and fast. So I'm going to take a moment to recap, just so that we're all on the same page, just so that we know where we are, and then we can relax again and get back into the film, okay? I'm sorry to make us do admin this soon in. So the sweaters we have so far, just to recap, we have Sally's blue cardigan. Then we go straight into Old Man Beige jumper. Then we've got Harry's little number, Harry's sports ball divorce sweater. We've got Carrie Fisher, Best Supporting Actress, green mohair cardigan. And then we've got the Hard Truths red turtleneck. I think that's it so far. An impressive selection, considering we're less than a third of the way through the film. But we need to strap in now, because we are about to be hit with so much knitwear all in one go. We get a better view of Sally's sweater when she's walking through the park with Harry, and Harry tells a story that I think he thinks makes him edgy about how he looks in the obituary section of the newspaper for new apartments to rent. It's clearly a bit. He's clearly used that on quite a few women before, and Sally's not that impressed. And Sally's hard truths in this scene are truly amazing. That's why she's wearing the hard truth sweater.
You know, I hate that kind of remark. It sounds like a compliment, but really it's an insult.
Okay, you're still as hard as nails.
I just didn't want to sleep with you, and you had to write it off as a character flaw instead of dealing with the possibility that it might have something to do with you.
You're upset that I didn't want to sleep with you, and you had to write it off as a character flaw instead of considering the possibility that I just didn't want to sleep with you. Harry is introducing himself to the concept of friendship.
Great. A woman friend.
A woman friend. Okay, now the knitwear marathon starts. So next up we have another couple interview. This couple is very cute, and they both have on some fantastic sweaters. We have a white nylon-y polyester looking cable knit number with these lovely little diagonal stripes detail on it as well. It's a really interesting design. And then the man is wearing a very cozy, very sweet looking, very soft looking, it looks like cashmere or something, blue v-neck sweater underneath his jacket. He has a lot of layers on this man. He's a layering king. Also, I love this woman's pearl necklace combined with her glasses on a string. Then we have a little montage. We've got sad Harry wearing a maroon sweater vest, thinking about his divorce and his heartbreak. And he starts getting in touch with Sally quite a lot. We've got Sally's black or dark red. I can't tell if it's dark, like a dark burgundy or black cardigan in the montage. See, Gloria Gresham doesn't care. She doesn't save the knitwear just for the big scenes. She'll put knitwear in a montage. We never see either of those pieces of knitwear again, FYI. We've got Harry being depressed in his beautiful fucking apartment. You ungrateful swine, Harry. This apartment, I think about this apartment all the time. I would love to live in an apartment like this. Next, this is all, by the way, in 1 minute. In 1 minute of footage, we get introduced in the same montage to the iconic white cable knit that is probably the most famous piece of knitwear from the film. He looks such a cozy king here. Harry is such a cozy king. You know, one of the things that makes me not actively hate Harry, even though he says some really annoying, like, irritating soft boy things.
When I buy a new book, I always read the last page first. That way, in case I die before I finish, I know how it ends.
Irritating misogynist things.
A woman friend.
And like, he's kind of a player and he's kind of a poser and he's kind of annoying. The only thing I think standing in the way of me actively disliking Harry is what a cozy king he is. He's got his really beautiful famous sweater on, but he's also wearing like these very cozy looking sweatpants and some really lovely like thick knitted grey socks. He just looks like a cozy king. Peak 80s, peak cozy king. Don't know if he should be sat near that window though. I don't think that he has double glazing, and I think that there'll be a big draft coming in through those giant windows. The next scene in this epic montage of knitwear is 3 more sweaters. They are all being worn by extras. Gloria Gresham was really good at her job. They're all being worn by extras. Sally's actually not wearing knitwear in this scene. Sally's just wearing a white shirt, but she's at a dance class and everyone around her is wearing amazing sweaters. I really enjoy the pink sweater next to the mint green sweater. I love pink and green together, and I think this sweater combo from those 2 extras is really beautiful. And they are dancing beautifully. It's a very 80s scene. And then they're in a Chinese restaurant surrounded by roasting duck. I love this shot. It's really beautiful. It's shot like through the window of the restaurant because it's a montage, so you don't need to hear the dialogue. And Harry is wearing another sweater. And then in the next scene, he's wearing not the montage scene. He's wearing a beautiful colorwork sweater that we again never see again. And the next scene is we see them talking on the phone. We've been hearing them talking over the phone in that whole montage featuring so much knitwear, but we see them talking on the phone. And you know what Harry's wearing? A bed sweater. Harry is such a cozy king that he's watching Casablanca in bed, talking to his friend that he's secretly in love with, wearing a grey, fine knit bed sweater, a dedicated bed sweater. What a cozy little man. What a cozy bear. He can't be a bad person. And then they go for a walk in the park. This is peak When Harry Met Sally aesthetics. They are walking in Central Park, both wearing colourwork sweaters. Harry is wearing like a traditional Fair Isle colourwork sweater, and Sally is wearing this really beautiful colourwork sweater. I think it has embroidery over the top. I'm not sure if it's colourwork actually, but it's kind of cabled, and it has these red and white embroidered details on it. Gorgeous. Two iconic sweaters. And then there's this beautiful museum shot of them. My love of this scene is only slightly marred by Harry's slightly underwhelming pan-European accent that he seems to find incredibly amusing. It's not that funny. And Harry is doing his ethically dubious pan-European accent as a way of deflecting from finding it a bit upsetting that Sally won't go to dinner with him because she's going on a date with somebody else. And next up, we have a reprise. We have a cable knit power couple scene. So Sally is back in her red cable knit hard truth sweater, delivering some more hard truths in the scene, I will point out. And Harry is in his white cable knit again. And Harry makes a racist kind of xenophobic joke about Ethiopian food that I don't know why he bothers. He just talks. That's the thing about Harry, right? Is Harry will just talk. He'll just talk to fill the silence. And he'll just say things to get... He's like a little boy. He'll just say things to get Sally's attention or to get any woman's attention. And he doesn't really mind if it's good attention or bad attention. But this shot is beautiful with them both kneeling down over the rug. Then Harry goes and plays baseball with his friend Jess, my least favourite person. And it's Jess's first day on Earth each day. Jess is experiencing a Groundhog Day in his life where every single day is his very first day on the planet. And Harry is explaining to him the nature of having a friend.
And you're not sleeping with
No.
And Jess doesn't quite understand.
You made a woman meow?
God, he just drains the life out of any room, this guy. Not even wearing a sweater, that's the thing. Like, Harry's worst moments, he redeems himself because he's at least wearing a sweater. Jess is no use to me. I'll tell you what, spoiler alert, Jess doesn't wear one sweater for this entire film. He doesn't put on one sweater. In the film When Harry Met Sally, he doesn't take the time to just put one sweater on. Maybe Gloria Gresham hated Jess as much as I do. But I do genuinely think that Nora Ephron has written this character to make Harry look nice because he's a drag and his outfits suck. And then we're in Cat's Deli, and this is another very famous scene from the film where Harry and Sally are talking about women's pleasure in bed, and they are both wearing iconic sweaters. So Sally is in a kind of charcoal brownie, fine cable knit V-neck sweater with a really nice shirt underneath it with like some embroidery on it. And Harry is in an incredible sweater that I think deserves more attention, which is this kind of tartan colorwork sweater. I think it's gorgeous. It's like maybe that Harry's sweater is my second favorite sweater in this film. My favorite sweater is the red one. And this is an iconic scene. Sally is arguing that women often fake it in bed, and Harry is saying, no, they don't. I'd be able to tell. And Sally's like,
It's just that all men are sure it never happened to them, and most women at one time or another have done it, so you do the math.
and Harry's like, no, I definitely know. And then Sally does an incredible, like, fully committed, very noisy impression of a woman's climax.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
And the whole deli goes quiet. It's Cat's Deli, very busy on the Lower East Side, lunchtime service. And the whole deli goes quiet. And then someone says,
I'll have what she's having.
I'll have what she's having, which is a very famous line from the film. It's one of the most famous lines in any film ever. And it mirrors that first encounter they had in 1977 when Sally says, I am too having sex, and then the whole diner goes quiet. It mirrors that, but she's older and she doesn't care this time. I really like that detail. And also, another detail, another fact you didn't ask for, is the woman who says, I'll have what she's having, is Rob Reiner's mother. So she's an extra in the film, technically. I mean, she has one line, but it's one of the most memorable lines in the film. This is the only time we see her, but Estelle Reiner was an actress and Rob Reiner, the director's mother, and the whole family were actors and comedians. Sorry to interrupt. This is Editing Sophie, and I'm on about hour 17 of editing this video. I've only just realised that Estelle Reiner is wearing knitwear in that clip that I talk about for ages, and I haven't included her in any of my commentary or any of the roundups because I somehow didn't see that she is wearing a variegated, beautiful knitted little waistcoat vest thing. And I don't really know what to say. I feel like I've let you all down. I feel like I've let the Reiner family down. I've let the knitwear community down. I've let the film buff community down, and all I can do is apologise and hope to do better next time. I just thought I'd explain why I don't mention it, because I somehow didn't see it. Also, it's always annoyed me that Harry looks a bit embarrassed in this scene because Harry spent the whole film trying to tell Sally how edgy he is because he thinks about death, or because he looks at the obituaries in the newspaper, or because he sleeps with women on the first date, or because he doesn't really want to cuddle after sex or whatever. And he's always trying to get her attention and make these little jokes, like that stupid joke about Ethiopian food. And then Sally does something that is truly edgy, which is to do an impression of, I can't say the word, but to do an impression of like a woman's climax in a deli. And he doesn't like it. Taste of his own medicine. And then it's Christmas time, and Harry and Sally do really cute stuff together. And there are all these beautiful shots of New York at Christmas that make me want to spend a Christmas in New York, but in 1989, not in 2025. But before we go any further, let's do another recap because we have had quite a lot of sweaters in a very short space of time. Sally's blue cardigan, old man's beige cardigan, Harry's sports ball depression sweater, Sally's iconic red cable knit sweater, Carrie Fisher's best supporting friend mohair cardigan, the try hard extra sweaters of the dance class, Harry's maroon sweater vest, Sally's black montage cardigan, Harry's iconic white cable knit, Harry's green v-neck vest, Harry's Fair Isle brown sweater, bed sweater, another Fair Isle sweater from Harry, Sally's grey sweater with the red and white embroidery, Sally's charcoal cable knit sweater, and Harry's tartan sweater. A lot of great contenders for best sweater and best supporting sweater, but we will be giving out awards at the end. We still have like half a film to go. And we have a little sweater break whilst Harry and Sally are busy spending New Year's with each other and having a little kiss and cuddle. But don't worry, we're back with a bang with this couple who are wearing very cute cardigans, both of them. So we have this lovely boucle cardigan that the woman has like draped over her shoulders while she's being interviewed, and then a really beautiful blue cardigan that her husband is sporting. Now we have this really funny scene where Harry and Sally go on a double date with my favourite supporting actress, Carrie Fisher, Maria, and then my least favourite person, Jess. And the four of them go on a date to a restaurant, and ostensibly Harry is setting Sally up with Jess and Sally is setting Maria up with Harry. But obviously they don't like each other because Harry's in love with Sally and Jess is the worst person in New York City. He's so annoying. So they're all making small talk and he's clearly like immediately attracted to Maria, which is fine. And Maria says something about restaurants.
Restaurants are to people in the 80s what theater was to people in the 60s. I read that in a magazine.
I wrote that.
Get out of here.
No, I did. I wrote that.
And then Harry's like, yeah, you both work at the New Yorker. You both write for the New Yorker. Like Jess and Sally are both New Yorker writers. So first of all, it's a bit of a plot hole because would they not know each other? Would they not have at least heard of each other? Like, why have they never heard of each other? If I was going to meet another writer who worked for the same magazine as me, even if I'd never met them in person, because quite a lot of anyway, I just think Nora Ephron should have known that they would have known each other. But he shows no interest in that. He has like zero interest in the fact that Sally does the same job as him.
Where did I read that?
New York Magazine.
Sally writes for New York Magazine.
You know,
It is his first day on Earth and he's so dumb. Predictably, Jess and Maria end up going home together. And the only thing I really have to say about the scene, other than it did nothing for my hatred of Jess, is that Carrie Fisher is holding the fort knitwear-wise. No one else is wearing any knitwear, although Sally is wearing a really nice shirt that comes back at the end. She is wearing a really nice wrap shirt, but no one's really wearing any knitwear. I thought Sally was, but that black thing is actually, I thought it was a cardigan, but it's actually a jacket. But Carrie Fisher's holding the fort. She's like, fine, I'll wear some knitwear. She's wearing a very unremarkable turquoise sweater, but I don't hate it. So basically, Maria and Jess go home together and immediately become a couple. And they mainly need to do that so that Nora Ephron can long out the Harry and Sally situation for the second half of the film. Because bear in mind, we are only 45 minutes in, without it being too frustrating. Like something, if Harry and Sally aren't going to get together, if there isn't going to be a major like denouement between them, then you have to have another plot point, which is the Jess and Maria storyline. Jess and Maria immediately get engaged, and Harry and Sally in the next scene are shopping for their engagement present. It happens very fast. And Sally is wearing a beautiful fine knit mock neck white sweater. I love this look on Sally. I really love it. I thought at first it might be a sweatshirt, and then I was like, Sophie, don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. Because I thought the same thing about Harry's bed sweater. I was like, oh, surely it's a sweatshirt. Surely it's not knit. Surely it's like a woven sweatshirt. No, it's knit. And this is very fine knit white sweater. It's beautiful. I just love Sally's look in this. Harry, unfortunately, is very badly behaved in these scenes. So unfortunately, in the middle of karaoke, who do they bump into but Helen, Harry's ex-wife, and her new lover, Ira. But they do bring 2 pieces of knitwear to the table, so we can't hate them too much. Helen is wearing a very demure divorced wife t-shirt, and Ira, man nobody cares about, is wearing a man nobody cares about colourwork polo. We don't see it for very, very long, but it's like a button-up polo neck collared sweater. I'm finding it very hard to care about Ira's sweater, but I did want to include it because it is a legitimate speaking character's piece of knitwear. And that puts Harry in a terrible mood. And because Harry has never learned any emotional regulation skills, Harry makes it everybody else's problem for the next 5 minutes. So they take their housewarming present and they go and see Jess and Maria in their new apartment. I will just take a moment and say that the properties in this place gave me a lot of sadness about the cost of living situation that we find ourselves in 2025 and the beautiful apartments of the 20th century. RIP. I will never live in an apartment like this. Anyway, they live in a beautiful Manhattan apartment. It clearly has outdoor space. Who the hell has outdoor space in Manhattan? And Sally's still in her white sweater, and Harry is still in a foul mood. And good old Maria, Carrie Fisher, is wearing a fine knit tank top, which looks great on her, even though she's in a relationship with Jess. What is Carrie Fisher doing with Jess? It's not believable. It's the least believable part of this film. It's less believable than the apartments. And Harry goes off on one because he wants to make his own emotional problems everyone else's.
This stupid wagon wheel Roy Rogers garage sale coffee table.
So he loses it with everyone. And Sally, she's not even wearing her truth bomb sweater, but she does deliver another difficult truth in her white fine knit sweater and lets Harry know that he's behaving inappropriately.
Harry, you're gonna have to try and find a way of not expressing every feeling that you have, every moment that you have them.
Then there's this big party scene, and I think it's just there to illustrate that whilst all this is happening, Harry and Sally are dating other people. So they're both at this big party with annoying Jess and Maria and a bunch of other people who we never see again. But I will say that, like, could one of them not have worn a sweater? There's no knitwear in any, none of them are wearing any knitwear. And there's quite a few opportunities for a little, like, none of them could have just a scarf, an accessory even. No, it must be summer, I guess. But yeah, there's no knitwear in this scene. And Jess continues to be the worst person alive. And then Harry's at home. It must be summer because he's in a t-shirt, and he gets a phone call from Sally, who finds out that Jo, her ex, is getting married, and she's really upset. So Harry understands because he lost his shit about Helen, and he agrees to come over, and he slips on a demure little number, which is a black, I believe black or maybe navy, but I think black cable knit sweater. Really gorgeous. Not dissimilar from his viral white cable knit, but a bit more on the down low, you know. And he comes over in his black cable knit sweater of consolation and consummation, spoiler alert, to comfort Sally. She's very upset. This is such a sweet scene, and Meg Ryan is such a good actor. Not to like dunk on Billy Crystal, but I found it really funny to find out that a lot of Harry's lines and a lot of Harry's characterization, like a lot of the script, was based on Billy Crystal's real relationship with Rob Reiner and quite closely on his life. Because Billy Crystal delivers Harry's lines like he's reading them off a teleprompter, and Meg Ryan delivers Sally's lines like she's best actress Oscar material. So that's just an observation I made. This scene in particular is really beautiful when she says, "I'm difficult."
What's the matter with me?
Nothing.
I'm difficult.
You're Challenge.
Breaks my heart. And this scene really warmed me to Harry. I find him very tender in this scene. She's crying a lot. He's comforting her. He gives her a big cuddle. She snots all over his cable knit sweater. He says it's not one of my favourites anyway. I can see why it's not one of his favourites, because as we've seen, he's got a wide range of knitwear. Like, that man's knitwear. That man's doing some serious moth proofing in the winter in New York. He is doing some serious moth proofing each year. Like, he must have a dedicated chest of drawers just full of knitwear, because he has a lot of it. So he's got it to spare. So I can see why the black cable knit is not one of his favourites. And then they kiss and they sleep together and he stays the night. And in the morning, Sally wakes up and he's slipping back on his black sweater of consolation, consummation, and attempted ghosting, thwarted ghosting. He was going to leave if she didn't wake up. He was going to leave without waking her up. But they do agree to go to dinner. And at an annoyingly knitwear-free dinner, they both agree that they made a mistake sleeping together and that it was weird. And it's made it weird between them. And it is quite weird between them for the foreseeable. Maria and Jess have a disappointingly knitwear-free wedding. And Harry and Sally have an awkward exchange.
Who is the dog?
You are.
I am. I am the dog.
Sally buys her own Christmas tree. Doesn't have Harry to help her carry it. And then we see her in a little montage scene. We do see she does get a cheeky bit of knitwear out for us. We see her in like a sort of violet stroke blue fine knit turtleneck. And we just see her in that in a moment while she's working, doing her important journalism job that we barely ever see her doing, whilst Harry is leaving her his umpteenth answering machine message. Get my head out of the 21st century. Harry and Sally have a big confrontation at their New Year's Eve party where Harry declares his love. Sally's like, it makes it impossible to hate you, but I do hate you. Then they kiss. Then we have a big old montage of the whole film. Not really that interested in this kiss scene unless there was a cutaway to somebody wearing a cuck sweater. And then we have the final scene. So the whole way through the film, we have these real interviews played by actors, but verbatim interviews that Nora Ephron conducted with members of the production team about their coupledom. But then the two parts of the film get joined together because the final couple being interviewed is Harry and Sally. And Harry gives us our final piece of knitwear of the film, which is a demure little black v-neck. No cables, no showiness. He doesn't need it anymore. He's still a cozy little guy, though. He does want us to know that he's still a cozy little guy. And what I also really like is that Sally is wearing the same shirt that she wore on the double date with Maria and Jess. So it's kind of a callback. And I just also love it that Sally's an outfit repeater. I've said it before, I'll say it again. No shame in being an outfit repeater. I really appreciate that Sally's an outfit repeater. And that's the end of the film. Hour and a half, almost 30 sweaters. Let's recap. So we began the film with Sally's blue cardigan, the cuck cardigan, if you will. Then we've got old man beige cardigan. Then we've got Harry's cuck sweater vest with the beautiful diamond pattern on it. Very jaunty. Then we've got this interviewee woman's black sweater. Very demure, not much to say about it. Then we have a beautiful array of knitwear and Shakespeare & Co. We have the red cable sweater and we have the best supporting actress cardigan. The amazing knitwear couple from the B storyline. We have the white cable knit and then that blue soft cashmere number. We have Harry's depressed divorcee maroon sweater vest. We also have the little sports ball game mild tweedy sweater poking out of Harry's jacket. We've got Sally's nondescript montage cardigan. We've got the extras sporting their minty green and pink sweaters at the dance class. We've got Harry's green v-neck and then his Fair Isle sweater with the Peking ducks and then his other Fair Isle sweater at the post box. We've got Harry's cozy bear bed sweater. We've got Harry's white cable knit sweater. Then another Fair Isle sweater from Harry and Sally's cable and bobble embroidered sweater. We've got Harry's tartan colourwork sweater in Cat's Deli and Sally's charcoal stroke chocolate brown cable knit sweater. Because of the situation in Cat's Deli, I kind of feel like the tartan sweater is another cuck sweater, but that's up for debate. Let me know in the comments. We've got the boucle jacket and cardigan combo from the couple in the cutaway interviews. Carrie Fisher in a turquoise sweater when everyone else was letting the side down. We've got Sally in a white fine knit mock neck. We've got Helen's knitted divorcee t-shirt. Ira, character nobody cares about, collared I can't even get to the end of the sentence. His collared sweater, his colourwork collared sweater, whatever. I'm sure it took somebody a very long time to make that, but unfortunately Ira's wearing it, so I don't care. The only way I could care less is if Jess was wearing it. Then we've got a late strong contender, Harry's black cable knit sweater of consolation and consummation and thwarted ghosting. And then we have Sally's kind of bluey purple montage sweater of regret and mixed emotions, and then the black sweater that Harry's wearing at the end. And that is every single piece of knitwear in When Harry Met Sally. And this concludes my very thorough rundown of every single piece of knitwear in When Harry Met Sally. I loved doing this. It was really fun. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm not going to lie, it's 1:30 in the morning and this took me about 5 hours. So I'm going to go to bed. Let me know below what you thought of these sweaters and which film you'd like me to cover next. I do have a few things in the works, but I'm up for doing way more of these. Me and my 1973 Bush TV are ready to go. And please do like and subscribe if you like this video because they've got loads more like this coming up. Take care, everyone, and I will see you again soon.